Hi, I'm Natalie, and welcome to my book presentation, my book response. The book that I read was The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This was an awesome book. I picked it because of all of its awards and stuff, but I also picked it because I do love books of poetry. And as you can see, the whole thing is written in poetic prose, right? So it made it a very fun read. It takes place in Brooklyn and in Harlem specifically, so in the like Catholic Latino culture in Harlem, and it is about Xiomara, who is a teenage girl that is going to school, and she has a twin, Xavier, and she lives at home with her mommy and her papi, and she has her best friend named Caridad, and she also has a budding relationship with a boy named Aman. And this book is really great because it kind of goes through her poetry where she's coming of age. So she's learning, she's a teenage girl. She's learning that she wants to speak out. She wants to express herself. She also wants to have this relationship with a boy. And in Latino Catholic cultures, it is not necessarily permitted or encouraged. We'll put it that way. And so in the book, what happens is that she is encouraged by her English teacher, Miss Galliano, to do a poetry read, and then after that, like a poetry slam. And it really gives her, Xiomara, a voice. And when she does it, she feels absolutely free. And she has a book of poems that she uses almost like a diary. And she does entries where she speaks about the boys that she likes, talks about her frustrations with her Catholic mother, who basically wants her to just be a good girl and not say anything bad and not do anything bad. And her mother, after she does the poetry read, her mother finds her book of poems and gets very angry about what she finds in there, and she burns it. And it basically breaks Xiomara's heart. But through that, they find some guidance through Father Sean, which is a priest at their church, at their Catholic church, and he helps them all to heal. He helps Xiomara's mother be able to accept her poetry and realize that it's something that she needs to do to be able to speak freely and express herself. And so it ends up being a wonderful ending where the family and the boyfriend and Father Sean and Miss Galliano, the teacher, all go to the poetry slam that Xiomara is presenting, and they are so proud. And it is such a beautiful story. It's written wonderfully. But what I was thinking about, what topics it brought up for me would be cultural responsiveness. This teacher, Miss Galliano, encouraged Xiomara to do this poetry slam and to be a part of the poetry club and write poetry without really considering that the things that she might be writing about might not be accepted in her Latino Catholic culture. So there is like I said, the big fight where the poetry book is burned by the mom and it becomes physical, and it's a really, the daughter runs away and stays the night somewhere, and her family is worried about her. It ends up being this huge issue that I feel like if the teacher would have been more culturally responsive and acknowledged her students' culture and had more of a relationship with the parents and spoken it through with them, maybe it wouldn't have blown up into this really traumatic kind of night for the daughter and the mother, the whole family really. And I thought about that because one of my schools is a Spanish immersion school, and I do encourage my students to be able to speak out about themselves and express themselves in drama. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. I'm a drama teacher. But I do need to keep in mind that there might be boundaries that could get them, in more of a less better word to say, in trouble with their families, and I need to be open with their parents and create a clear communication. My other school's a Mandarin school, and they have also a very kind of conservative way of how they how children express themselves in their culture, and how both cultures really are very big on honoring their parents. So bringing the parents in would be a much more culturally responsive way to figure out how to support letting kids express themselves. Building stronger relationships is another thing this does. This book really gives a really good example about how a really strong relationship is built between Zayamara and her teacher, Miss Galliano, because of the encouragement and the belief that she has in her. And it's something that I could really do to help my emerging bilingual students in both ways, building stronger relationships. And I find it by bonding through performance is a big issue. Last year was my first year teaching, and it was a little hard to create bonds right away. Not with some, with others maybe. But I noticed that once we performed, we wrote a piece together in one of my schools and with my 4th and 5th graders, and they were just over it by the time rehearsals were just about done, because it was that final push, right? And once we performed, though, they were so happy, and I feel like and proud of themselves, and I feel like it gave them and myself more of a bond, where I got a lot more "Hi, Miss Natalie's" on campus from students that might have just looked at me like, ugh, you know what I mean? So really creating, I think drama does that, just naturally kind of creating a bond where we all work together to put something on. And it can build really strong relationships between me and my students, especially when we're creating work together. Let's see. And the way that I can advocate and support immigrants is not by just going into speaking to their parents and having a really clear relationship about their culture, but maybe their culture is in their churches, in their community, in places that they go and work in the community. And I can go and visit those churches and see what their world is like and what their beliefs are, because they'd be wildly different from mine. But I feel like I could advocate in that way. I also plan to have students, I would love for them through drama to be able to advocate for the arts, specifically in their cultures, and to be able to perform in their communities at community festivals or community parades, and be able to kind of advocate for students, immigrant students that are learning to express themselves and giving themselves a voice through drama. And I feel like that would be the best way to equip myself, is when I'm invited, and I have been invited, when I'm invited to go to a church performance, go to the church performance. I was invited to the talent show at a community center. So I went to the talent show and really equip myself with those bonds that I can make in the community to be able to further support my students. So anyways, I really recommend this book. Elizabeth Acevedo is amazing. It is an amazing story of an immigrant child in performance, and how it helped her become the young woman that she wants to be, and also helped heal her family in many ways. So if you have any questions about it, just let me know. Otherwise, go read it. It's an easy, fun read too.